Welcome back to another edition of the Triumvirate, episode 39, guys. It's good. We took like a 3-week break, but we've made it. We're back.
Yay! Cat's back from his
Yay.
trip. We have to just chat about nothing for a couple minutes just for the live stream because a lot of people have to watch a commercial for like 8 to 22 seconds before they can watch it. But we're glad that you're coming in here. Hey, Kat, is this trip that you guys took something that you and Danny had planned a long time ago, or is it more of a spur of the moment?
I want to make sure that everybody know I did not go on a cruise with Danny. I just want to set that record straight. I did not share a cabin with Danny. We did not look out the ocean on the same balcony.
Titanic?
None of that happened. He did not wrap around my waist as I hold my arms out apart.
You don't have to add that detail if it didn't happen, you know.
and I definitely did not have any kind of pearl necklace thing that was involved in any of this.
Oh my.
Sorry, was it a diamond necklace? Anyway, I'm done talking. You guys start. I mean, I'm already starting out horrible. So
does Danny own any parking lots near the cruise port where you could park your car for free? That's cool. I was just reading that he actually owns a bunch of car park places for passive income.
I don't think he's that diversified yet, but I think the way that it's going, he probably will be.
Very nice.
Well, we're going to start off talking about... Oh, go ahead.
No, with that get out of the way, go ahead, Tracker.
Yeah, I was going to say we're starting talking about Bitcoin because right at this moment, it is pumping up a little bit. What do you think?
Yeah, I guess the market likes whatever Trump is saying temporarily, you know. So it's a little bit emotional right now, but it's not really doing anything special, to be honest. It's just going up to where last week's wick was up as well, right? Last week it got up to 97,900, almost 98,000. So we could see something similar to that, but is it ready to break above? I'm not sure if it is just yet, but we'll pay attention to if it can start to close higher candles. But regardless, there's really no weekly resistance until really the 1.618 fib again here on linear scale. So we could see a continuation to that resistance. And I thought maybe we'd get a back test of that 91,000, but so far, no, right? And we can even put on that the Bollinger Band 20-week moving average. That's a little bit above that number too. Still no back test of that. So this has been very bullish, right? A breakout, no back test, and all we got is continuation. So I think we're going to be seeing price just continue on to the 102, maybe this week, maybe in the weeks to come. But so far, it's one of the most bullish things in all the markets right now because it just keeps on going up for the past 5 weeks in a row without any kind of retrace at all. So very, very nice development. But if it does get to that 102, I would be a little bit cautious up there because not sure if it's really going to break above it right away. It might just get stuck.
Yeah, I was looking at the Bitcoin on this 1 hour chart that I've got. I drew one of my little tracker triangles at the bottom here. Thanks, Matt. So like right here, this is where it wanted to go up, and then the market kind of forced it down, and then it bounced up, and then you have this descending resistance trend and this ascending support trend. And I thought it might want to hold right here this morning. It wicked through and then right back into the triangle. So I kind of call this like an Elliott wave overthrow. It's kind of a fake out on this side. And then this evening or this afternoon, it broke out of the triangle, back tested it right here, and now it's in launch mode. Weekly resistance is up here at 97,221. I think it will probably want to try to retest this 97,929, and then maybe it'll back test either the weekly resistance or maybe right about where it's having trouble right now, right here about this my 786 fib at 96,563. So maybe like this, and then I'll just borrow you, and then back down to maybe that again. I don't know. And then if I just try
I'm not sure if your screen's moving. You're sounding like a robot right now. You're cutting in and out. I don't know if that sounds like that to you, Kat. Does it?
He sounded okay to me.
He's on it.
Give me
Okay.
a second. Let me just open this door a little bit. Maybe my Wi-Fi is a little.
Okay, now he doesn't. I don't know. Oh no.
But was his
There,
screen moving? Was his screen moving? Because I'm not
It's
sure if
moving
the
a little
screen
bit. I
was
wasn't
moving.
sure if he
moving
was going. Yeah, I
now.
mean it's moving now. Yeah.
Okay, now it is. Yeah, there's some lag or something going on here. I'm not sure what's happening.
Sorry about that. So anyway, if you just do like a retrace from where at the bottom it just hit down here at 93,376 up to like an imaginary retest of this level, then coming back down. Well, there's a 786 right there. Well, let's see what happens if it does. I don't know. It's fun. I like to do these what ifs a lot to try to guess what's going to happen. Maybe it comes just a little higher than that. What if the 786 lines up with where it is right now? So maybe it's going to go to 97,414. Just get a little higher than the weekly pivot and then come back down. But regardless, this is a nice move. I think it's going to want to test the upper side here, and maybe look like it wants to go retest back here, and then send it back down again. One more time. I was thinking maybe 103,000, and then test back to 96 again. We'll see. But no, it's going to be good. I think tomorrow we'll have another green data tomorrow, is what I'm guessing on the way everything's looking to me. Especially with the VIX right here. I've been showing this chart a lot lately. The VIX had this weekend gap up. You can kind of see I've arbitrarily drawn like a line right here is about where it seems like fear is, and down here is about where greed is, and we're just approaching greed. This is based on like historical price action, but yeah, it looks like the trend is it wants to come back down into the greed area. It pushes a little farther. It has to snap back to test resistance, and then pushes farther down again. So maybe tomorrow we'll get maybe we'll get down to the greed level. And yeah, and you can see some things have already started taking off, like HIMS had that crazy pump on Monday, and I think it's going to keep continuing. But we can talk about that later. This is just one example. When you get to the bottom of a big market move, you start to get divergences between stocks where some of them start to run ahead of the other ones because they're just a little farther ahead in their own cycle, or for whatever reason, people are picking some winners just start to take off earlier, and they ride those ponies really hard and fast.
Hee haw.
Hee haw. You want to talk about the
Well, does Kat have anything to add to Bitcoin, or do you want to show your others chart? Kat?
I can talk a little bit about Bitcoin, sure. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I do have a log can here that I've been following this for like months now. It's been showing some pretty decent market symmetry. This arc here, this arc here, this arc here, and then right now we're hitting this arc here. Been having a hard time getting through, but we are riding up this angle. We are trying to push through that arc right there. I think that there is some pretty important thing. Whenever it consolidates for a while, you have the wave trend oscillator. This is like basically like a faster oscillator than MACD. You can basically see that you have consolidation. When consolidation is done, when you have the bullish cross over here, that's when it kind of tries to use the energy to break above the arc and go to the next arc, right? Same thing over here. It was kind of consolidating sideways over here. And whenever you have a bullish cross over here, it was using that as energy to try and break above the arc, right? I think we are right around at that point where I think we have enough consolidation. I think we have a trend change. And I think it looks like we want to go up higher. That's what it looks like. And if it does, then the target, I guess, on the top of this arc over here would be just like what Matt was saying, maybe around 100, 102,000, somewhere around there, right? You guys still hear me, by the way?
Yes, absolutely.
Right. Yeah, it says connection loss. I don't know why. Oh, there you go. Okay. So the other thing too was if you also look at the daily, I also have this daily gain. I've been following for quite some time here as well. And it's been falling at a 45-degree angle here pretty perfectly. So the way I see it, you actually initially I thought you had to come back and like back test the bottom of the arc around like 90, 90K or something like that. Didn't end up doing that. Have a very nice tweezer bottom over here. And looks like we are probably want to go back to a 45-degree angle here. Um, if we end up pushing about the 45-degree angle, the horizontal zone over here is also around like 101, somewhere around there, like 101, 102. That's probably where it's going to end up getting into. I think we have enough energy to push through. Whether or not we have any kind of shenanigans with like FOMC, do we come back down, wick down, and then go up? That's always a possibility, right? Because so far, I just don't really see enough like volume for me to feel that confident about what's going on right now. But I can totally see that it wants to keep on going up higher, but whether or not it has to come back down and back test some things before going up, but that I really don't know. Regardless, it doesn't really matter what the short-term price action is because I simply cannot be that bearish on Bitcoin overall when it's just riding up the conversion line like this on the monthly. It's like this stepwise riding up conversion line. I just cannot be bearish with this look over here. This looks like it wants to go higher.
Yeah.
And that's all that's all I have to say. Like that's how bull market happens, right? Even in the 2015, 2017, it was riding up along the conversion until it broke down underneath of it and flipped it from support to resistance. That's the end. And then here we lost the conversion, and that's when it was the end, right? Right now there's no indication that this is the end. So I think don't sweat the small stuff, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Um, but I'm gonna let you guys keep talking here. Matt, Tracker, you want to talk about altcoins? It sounds like Matt wants to talk
I
about
think you should
others.
show your others chart first before we switch over that you showed on X, the 2-day or whatever.
Yeah, so even if you look at the monthly, it's still holding the monthly cloud here just fine. If you look at the weekly, it is kind of breaking underneath the cloud here, but it's holding the conversion here. But I think it's very important if you do the 2-day chart, you pull up the Bollinger Band. What you're really seeing here is that you had a downtrend that's been happening for months, right? Very vicious. This is like a 40-day moving average. Very vicious downtrend here that has been reversed, right? We've broken above that and we're back tested almost perfectly, right? In the process of doing that, and this is how head and shoulder pattern happens. This is why that happens because generally you have the shoulder, head, and shoulder. Shoulder tries to break out, not able to, right? Had to form a head here. That the head is able to push through the resistance eventually, and then the shoulder here is to back test that resistance to previous resistance in the support. That's exactly what it's doing right now. It actually looks like it's forming a pretty decent reversal pattern over here on the 2-day, right? I mean, you can kind of see that in a lot of different charts. Even on Ethereum, it's kind of doing that. It's like a little bit of like a cricket, I don't know, like the right arm's a little bit too strong for some reason, wink wink kind of thing, you know. But it's still breaking through the 40-day moving averages, kind of still back testing it here a little bit. So even Ethereum is doing that. A bunch of crypto charts are doing that, and the Otters chart is basically showing you that pattern over here. So I think if this is it, then I think we kind of launch from here. I mean, I can even talk about like WGMI. This is like the Bitcoin miners is doing the same thing. So I don't want to get ahead of myself, but yeah, I think you guys probably have something else to say about alts. So I'll let you take away.
Yeah, I just wanted to show my total 2 chart here. And I was actually looking at total 2 earlier with the 2-week Ichimoku. Let me just flip my screen. And it's interesting development for Total 2. And Total 2, if you guys don't know, it's just everything except for Bitcoin. So just not Bitcoin. It's including Ethereum and everything else. So we have all the top 10 coins on there, which is interesting. But we got our breakout of the cloud and we got our back test on the 2-week chart. And not only that, it wicked through all of that support a few weeks ago. And we can see that it bounced and it held the cloud. So yeah, it's just more confirmation that everything except for Bitcoin, especially, it just wants to keep going higher, right? And there's no 2-week resistance until maybe the 1.19 trillion, and we're at 1.02 right now. So we do have potential to go higher, but is it going to just launch to all-time highs right away? Probably not, right? We do need to break the previous 2021 high. We still haven't really done that for a total 2 at all. So I think this round is going to do it, though, because it couldn't do it the first touch, right? The first touch, it went up to the previous high. That usually gets rejected, and sure enough, it did. So I think the next time it's up there, it's probably going to break out and it's going to break free, and the altcoins, including Ethereum, are probably going to go with it too. And I think this total 2 chart really shows that picture. So very, very beautiful development here for crypto markets. And I think regardless of any kind of news from Trump or whatever, they're just set up that way. They're set up to go higher. And I think the reason why, you can look at the weekly chart, that we opened a new weekly candle finally back above the conversion line for the first time on total 2, right? We opened it above it. So that kind of leads the way to go higher, right? Once we get rid of that conversion line resistance since when? It was like back in January. So 4 months of just downtrend, that's basically a trend reversal. So we have this for total 2, and that's just kind of a clear sign that it wants to go higher. 1.09 is the next target, and then up here is at 1.24 trillion. But yeah, total 2 looks great. Bitcoin looks great. Altcoins looks great. Others, everything looks fine. Right? There are some that are lagging behind right now that are not really doing anything, but I think they can play catch up. And speaking of Ethereum, I wanted to show that chart too, right here. And it also finally opened a weekly candle above the conversion line. And the last time that happened was actually December of last year, that it actually closed a candle above. So if this week closes above, which kind of seems likely right now, then that'll be the first weekly candle close since December of last year above that. So that would really indicate a trend reversal, which means it's probably going to go to 2,000 next, then maybe 2,400, then maybe 25, whatever. It's just going to keep going higher. And when you take everything off here too, I know Kat loves when I say those words. We can just take a look at you can take at the market symmetry here of how beautiful Ethereum really has been throughout this whole time, right? Orange level, beautiful point where it stopped out for a while. Blue level, beautiful point where it was like a major resistance for a long time. Then back in 2020, flipped to support. And now we basically went to the top arc, back tested the bottom arc, and we're good to go, right? Ethereum's good to go to 2,600. And I think it's at least going to go to 9,000. That's where I think it's going. And perhaps even higher, right? 40,000, is that possible? Maybe. I mean, it's been suppressed quite a bit during this downtrend, so it could be a violent spring happening for Ethereum. So I'm not too concerned about any of this, and actually everything looks so beautiful. And so many charts, when I put back on that Ichimoku, so many charts look like this.
Before you move on, doesn't that look like the XRP chart? I mean, at this point,
Yeah, it's going sideways for a long time.
Like right here, or what do you mean?
The entire thing. Like you're talking about like 5 years, like 4 years of it.
From 2021. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just sideways. Yeah. It kind of looks like the XRP chart. So yeah, similar thing. When XRP broke its arc, it just started to fly, right? So when it starts to break this top arc here, it's probably going to start to fly, right? And it's going to be a good development. But what I was getting at is this conversion line. You can see this development on almost every single crypto weekly chart now, right? This opening up above the weekly conversion line this week or the last couple of weeks, it has happened. Even XRP did it too, right? Speaking of XRP, it opened up a weekly candle above that conversion line finally. So we're getting rid of this conversion line resistance, right? It's finally getting set free, and it already back tested it today. It went down to 207, conversion line is 210. So I was waiting for price to start getting above it. We haven't closed the weekly candle, so I don't want to count my chickens before they hatch. But ultimately, if this closes the week above it, that's going to be the first weekly candle close above it since February, which is a really good thing. Then you have that 225 resistance here, and then you have the 330s and above. So just to let you know, almost all the charts, with exception of like ICP or NEAR or whatever, they are currently above their weekly Ichimoku conversion line. Tenkin, whatever you want to call it, they are above it, which is a very, very bullish indicator that things could possibly start to get excited.
And if you're out there and you don't have, you've got a lot of money in your trading account and you don't want to like switch it over to like an exchange like Coinbase to buy XRP or something, you can actually buy, there's a 2x ETF of XRP called XXRP, and you can get that and ride it up for a 2x the move of XRP. If you start to see it move really fast, that might
You
be a
can
good
also
one to
buy
grab.
it on you can buy it on Robinhood too.
Oh yeah, that's true. Robinhood now.
What if I want a 3x gain?
Oh,
No, I mean, yeah.
4x, 5x. Come on, let's get spicy.
I guess you could try buying some calls on XXRP. Any options on that?
Too eggplanty for me.
Eggplant water emoji.
Just a little
Splash.
bit.
All right, is
All
that
right,
your? Yeah. Go ahead.
should we go move on to stocks, or do we have any other crypto stuff we want to talk about?
Well, I mean, what's your favorite crypto right now?
I mean, XRP is always, I think, my favorite chart ever since back way back below, before it broke out. But I think besides XRP, we gotta just look at a lot of other ones like Doge. I like Doge a lot. I do like it. Look at that, above the conversion line, but it's below the cloud. How do you feel about that, Cat?
I mean, it
Yeah,
did that
it
before
did
a
that
few
right
months
here.
ago. It
Yeah,
didn't really
right
matter.
here.
Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't matter. I think it's the cloud and the Dogecoin chart. I mean, at this point, I think like you can look at a 2-week cloud. I think that probably represents what Doge is doing a little bit better.
Magic
You
2-week
know,
cloud.
Oh yeah, it hit the
yeah,
bottom. Yeah, very beautiful.
yeah. It hit the bottom. If you actually like, even you can even see that from the cycle before and cycle now. I can show you if you
Yeah,
want to just like zip over to
I'll
me real
zippity doo dah
quick.
your way.
Zippity doo dah. The last cycle, whenever it broke above the 2-week Ichimoku cloud, that's when it went berserk, right? And it took a while to do that. You can see how it got rejected perfectly at the bottom of the 2-week Ichimoku cloud here for quite some time, for like almost the entire year, And then whenever it decides to break out, it didn't even bother back testing, and it just went to the moon, right? Here, so far, we're doing a little bit different here. We end up breaking inside a cloud, and we end up spending like about almost like the entire year inside a cloud here, right? And we test the bottom of the cloud here, and then we push through. Guess what? We haven't back tested the cloud yet. Finally decide to do that, right? So what's happening next? Well, resistance, I guess, resistance, previous resistance turn support. So pretty bullish setup here, I would say, moving forward. That's all.
Yeah. Yeah, so I like Doge. I like Doge's setup. I actually like ADA's setup too. The 2-week chart is also pretty beautiful, kind of like Doge, right? Broke out above the cloud, came
Yeah.
back and back tested even the arc there too. And AVAX, another a good setup I like, actually, going on the weekly chart, and it already broke above its weekly conversion line 3 weeks ago, and it did, or 2 weeks ago, and it did go back and back test it every single week so far. So 1906 is that support. I was thinking maybe it's going to go to this 45-degree angle and touch it.
You're you're not showing your chart, by the way.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
still showing mine. Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, there you go.
So here's AVAX. Yeah. I was thinking maybe it's going to go to the 45-degree angle sometime and touch it, but it doesn't have to do it now. It can do it way in the future, way up here. So it's just at some point in time, it probably will touch. We just don't know when. But as long as it stays above 19 bucks, I think it's going higher, and I've been buying more of that too. H bar is another one that I really like. It broke back above the orange level again. It's also back on top of its weekly conversion line. You see the pattern here, guys. So many charts are doing this for the first time. They haven't done it in months. So great development. So yeah, hit the 45-degree angle, nailed the orange level, and it broke out above the conversion line, and now we are looking free and clear to possibly even go up to the baseline and the top of the arc, 25 cents. And again, it's going to be another one of those XRP situations, I think, with H bar here. Once it flips this arc to a from resistance to a support, it can easily go up to like $1.30, or even to the next level up here, which is around 280, $3. So I think that's probably in the cards for H bar. It's looking very, very healthy, super healthy chart throughout all this market volatility. It's stabilized above major levels all the time. It never even touched the weekly cloud, unlike a lot of others. So super nice setup. And what else is there? I think. Oh, actually, I've been looking at QNT recently because this chart has been pretty nice. It hit that 45-degree angle almost all the time. And I was telling my Patreon people, like, when it was right here, I'm like, this is going to hold, guys. This $63. This is what I was waiting for that whole time, to go back and nail it and touch. And sure enough, right when it hit, it just took off. And we have the breakout above the conversion line too. But not only that, you can put on the moving averages as well. And it's above the 50-week again, and it already back tested it too. So this is looking good to go higher as well, and maybe get to the top of the cloud. So maybe there is some bullishness for QNT in the cards here too. But the bottom line is, so many charts look identical now on the week-to-week basis, which is just confirming to me that things are about to go much, much higher. And I think we're about to see launch mode activated for a lot of alts, and that's going to be good for Coinbase.
Yep.
Right? We can jump into stocks now if we want. Any objections?
No, none,
No,
please.
yeah, not at all. Yeah.
So yeah, let's just jump into Coinbase then. And since altcoins are going to do well, then this is probably going to be the biggest beneficiary, even though people hate it. Oh, it's below the cloud too, just like Doge. But also it did that before as well, right? It went below the cloud for a few weeks and then it launched higher. But look at Coinbase. It's also back above the 100, back above the conversion line for a few weeks in a row as well. And the blue level right here is at 210. Then we got all of this resistance up here at 220s. But ultimately, I think what we're going to really focus on is the fibs here, because we haven't even got to any fib extensions. Neither has Robinhood either, right? So we have the potential to start, once we start breaking above that 786 again, 245, right? I'm getting ahead of myself here, but I honestly see fib extensions in its future. And I think Kat agrees with me. I see the 1.272 at a bare minimum, and then the 1.414, but I honestly think it can probably get to the 1.618, just like Palantir is probably going to do as well. And just like MSTR already did with its fib extension as well. So they are not there. Like Robinhood, it's not any fib extension from its 2021 high either, right? And it's very, very similar situation than Coinbase. So I think we're going to see a lot of explosions happening soon, and nobody really believes it because it's not happening right now, which means nobody really wants these things because they're not doing anything. They're just boring people. But I guarantee you, once they start breaking the 200s and the 300s again, everybody's going to want them again. And then by that time, it's going to be hitting some resistance. And then they're going to get angry again because it's going to go back and touch the cloud in the 260s. And then they're going to be all yelling at me. And then they're going to sell out. And then they're going to take a loss. And then it'll rebound and go much, much higher. That's basically the moral of the story in stocks.
Let me show them my Coinbase chart. It's kind of cool. We were talking about the retracement of extensions. Wait, that's Cat.
That's not Tracker's chart. That's my chart.
Just keeping you on your toes there, Kat. Keeping you on your toes.
All right, so here's my Coinbase chart. And, you can see it started, I don't know why it started so high. Is this really the real history? It starts at 429.54 and then loses value.
Yeah, that was the IPO. The IPO was the very tippy top of the market. Literally, I think they IPO'd on the week of the top of the crypto market.
Oh my gosh. So anyway, so you look at from the bottom here at 31.55 back to 429.54, and you go up to like Matt's 127.2, and look over here on the right, it kind of lines up with my third wave going up to the 123.6 fib extension. And I got this extension from that 31.55 low, and I thought this was gonna be the wave one and wave two, but because it went up here and made a lower low than here, this is now my wave one, and this is my wave two, and so the whole thing just got bigger. So wave one top, the all-time, well, not the all-time high, the recent high of
So that whole move is
349.5.
just your wave that's just
This
your wave 1 now? That whole move?
whole move is just wave 1, and then we just hit wave 2 bottom. And so, this is the thing I wasn't expecting, like, when, at the end of last year and the beginning of this year, we were like, I thought 1, 2, and we were going to 3 and then 4 and then 5, and no, it did this. The whole market came back way down to here, and then I was offline for a little while there, just suffering, but and I'm feeling out better, and look, because the market's bottomed. And so this is my 1, my 2. This is wave 3 sub 1, wave 3 sub 2. Uh, at the minimum, it should go to here, wait, see. This is a subwave setup. Let me just, delete this for a second. At the minimum, it should go to 32236, and in fact, you know what? Kinda looking at this, Ichimoku's, maybe that is what it wants to do. Look for maybe 260, then back to 213. Um, and then from there to the 1235, 3186, back to the 764, and on to the 2236, up here at 850.06. So, and it's kind of cool to look and see how the extensions correlate to the retrace. So the retrace 200%, 827 is pretty close to my 2236 extension. So basically, just of this whole movement went down, it would recover and then go 200, go another 100% higher after that before it
So
tops out and then has to start. So that's my
so
Coinbase
wave
chart. This is a
2,
weekly chart. These
what's
are weekly clouds. Go ahead.
what's your wave 2 target?
So now, let's see. Kind of went one, two. This kind of went. This is kind of the wave 4 right there. I think it wants to go to 382 at 260 and 11 cents next, and then it could test back down to 1366 before going back up again, is the typical pattern. Now, sometimes these things will run past the 382. I just have to watch because, doing a 382-236 retrace is kind of, what's the word? It's cautious. When things were really bullish in 2024, 2021, I would do a 764 extension and then back to the 382. So I'm just going to be watching this. I'm doing the same thing with this other stocks right now, like HIMS and everything. You've been seeing me watching for the last few weeks, Matt. I draw 382, 236, but I warn that if it gets over the 382, I'll have to watch the next fib and the next fib and the next fib. Nothing usually gets over the 764 though. If it does, it just usually means I drew the wave 1, 2 wrong. Yeah, let's look for 260.11 is my next target from here for Coinbase, and that would be an improvement about 33% from where price closed this afternoon at 4 p.m. Yeah, and the Ichimoku cloud kind of supports this idea. Does this have the buy? Yeah, I got the order block detectors on. It just doesn't show anything on the weekly chart. 8-hour chart. Here we go. Here's some sell order blocks. Yeah, they've got sell order blocks halfway between the 236 and 382, and then right below the 382 here, around 244 to 254. But yeah. Yep, no, I think Coinbase is gonna do well. So we were doing ConL as a nice 2x play. ConL, same dealio. Go to weekly chart. All of this from its all-time low of $3.80. ConL went to a high of actually there's a after hours high that's of 90.76. Low at 874. Whoops. Um, sorry, this is just a list of things I was playing with. So yeah, all this is wave 1, wave 2. So now just a cautious wave 3 sub 1 is to the 382 and then back to the 2. And it looks like the weekly EQ percent level. That would be interesting. What if it goes 50 and then 382? So maybe look for $52.22 next, then back to 41.96. Then if that stopped at the 3882, and then the 100, and then the 2382. Sorry, this redraws when I put that down. Maybe 215. Anyway, Connell, yeah, from where it is right now, just to retest the two and then get rejected the first time, that's 71% higher than price closed at 4 p.m. this afternoon. And if it gets just to the 382 and then gets pushed back to the 236, that's 148% higher. If it goes to the 50%, that is 211% higher. Either way, once it gets over, this is the boss, right? The next boss it has to fight is the 11.4% fib extension, and it already got over it, but then went back under it again. But once it gets over it, it should take off for the 236 next. Um, so right now, any price below should be a really good price because this will eventually become support at 29.26. So any price under 29.26 is a good place to get in on Con-L. That's my 2 cents. Oh yeah, I see uranium miners look bullish. Let me bring up the UEC, Uranium Energy Corporation. This is one I followed back in 2019, 2020. Yeah, when it was like doing this. Gosh, I remember when it was hard to stock up to $3, and here we are at 550 after hitting a all-time high of 893. So same thing. I was calculating this was going to be the 1, 2. Looks like I probably just have to change my idea. Well, no, that could still hold up. I don't know, 100% back to 236. Now let's just change this whole. Let's change this whole thing. So I'm going to say that the top of my wave one. I'm going to delete. I'm going to say the top of my wave one actually is here. That's your wave one top. No, because then this one goes higher and that goes lower. This is the wave one top, and this is what a lot of after we had this quote correction from the beginning of the year to April 7th. Come on, why don't you get Scooty? Where want you to go? All right, this won't be exact. This is approximate. But yeah, just to get to the 382, 236, and look once again, the weekly Ichimoku cloud kind of supports this idea that from the 384 point it goes to 711, back to 586, and then the 1236, 1444, back to the 764, and the 2236, 2302. So this is where I would, look for UEC to go next. I'll bet it's been fighting the 11.4, 0.114, right here at 482. Yeah, it kind of like it was resistance, came down, got over it, tested back to it, and now we're off again. So 586 will be its next mini boss to fight, but once it gets over it, it should get to at least 711, and then maybe test back to 586. And once again, I like to tell people, the percentage from where market closed today to the 39% higher. And then if you watched it go up to 711, then back to 586, and then you bought in, which is a nice safe place to do that from. The heart of wave 3 will take you 145% higher to $14.44. So there you go. A lot of things since the December sell-off to the April 7th bottom, following a 382-236, and it seems like the market's been cautiously doing that as well. Some things, though, like again, want to go to HIMS is very different. When it ran up in February, it went 300% higher extension from its wave one move. Let's see. Oh, I need this one right here. From the 565 low to the 2574 high, and then back down to 1347. So this move from here to here, it did that times to get to 73.74. Then did the steep drop with the rest of the market down until April 7th. And now it is roaring back, and it did not go 382,236. I thought, I think it was on our show, Matt, just a couple weeks ago, or maybe it was like a week and a half ago. I was concerned this is going to go 382,236 and it's going to be really slow. And I was saying, HIMS is really going to need a catalyst. I'm not that excited about it. It looks like it's just going to go real slowly up to the 382. But boy, did we get a catalyst. And no, it didn't do that at all. And so it rocketed past the 382, which is why I'm pretty sure it's going to go all the way to 68.01 next. Obviously, on the way from here to here, it'll do it in 5 subwaves. So what, 1, 2, maybe 3, 4, 5, something like that. But 68.01 next target for the 764. Then it tests back to the 382, maybe in here. Get rid of this. Still 45.27. And then the 1382 to the 100% to the 2382. So this thing could go to $164. And I was just kind of playing around with the weekly. My move average 75 is this orange line, and I've kind of followed it with this extension tool. Maybe it can get there in just about a year, 350 days. Anyway, from where prices right now to that 764 at $68.01 is about 36% higher. When we closed at 4 p.m. But maybe it'll go to 52.32 and then test back to 45.27, or maybe even a little lower. You'll need a wave 4 here somewhere. Stop me if you get bored. But the HIMS, I've been trading the heck out of this, and I'm looking for HIMS. This is HIMZ, the 2X ETF of HIMS, and I'm looking forward to go to 36.50 next. I called this bottom right here, and I bought it real heavy, and it's just been going gangbusters ever since. So I'm very excited about this move. And let me go to the 1 hour chart. Here, this 100% fib at $30.38 was a wick through it. Then it was resistance. Then it tested back basically to I think it was the 15-minute Ichimoku. The conversion line right here. And then it got through the 100%, flipped it from resistance, and it will be support the next time it comes back down to it, but only after, I think, tagging the 36.50 next. It seems like the 123.6 could be the resistance, but I think it's going to go for the 0.2 at 36.50. All right. Anyway, sorry. That was a long diatribe about the kinds of things that are happening in the market. Most things are kind of going more cautiously, 382, 236. But a few things like HIMS they're going gangbusters like they just don't care. And they're doing what the most bullish stocks did in years previous, where they would go for that 764, then back to the 382.
Yeah. I think a lot of people are talking about biotech, so we can talk about that because they had a really rough day today for a lot of biotech, and so I'll do the XBI first, and we can take a look here and just see my GAN that I have for XBI. And I think it's kind of obvious what happened when you look at the symmetry of it all. Like, this is the benefit of GAN. You can actually visualize what they're doing. And since the orange level, they sent it straight up to the green level and then back to the blue, held as support for a while, then straight back to the orange, right? And then this blue angle has been a super massive resistance ever since as well. And so the last time it was there back in November of 2024, it just got massively rejected and just straight back down to the orange level one more time. Like, one more back test, like, why not? We'll shake you all out, and then we'll send it higher. And then they'll be like, not so fast. We're going to come back down and retest support again. So we're not quite there yet for XBI, which kind of means that, we could actually go back down towards the $75 zone. But I think that is likely to hold. Not only is it angle support, but it's also an important zone of like a previous level as well, going backwards. So What I'm seeing, honestly, with biotech is it's a breakout of resistance, and now it's back testing and flipping resistance to support. That's what I see with biotech. And I think what we're seeing is just a shakeout again. Like, let's just send everything lower, panic people. So, sure, it's down 8%, but in reality, they sent it pretty high from the bottom, from basically the 60s all the way up to the 80s. And so, this kind of back test in the grand scheme of things, it's not even that big of a deal. And when we go to ARKG, kind of something similar, right? Hit the purple angle, just broke out, and now it's retesting the red angle right now. So this is also at a very important zone in the past. We can see, trace it back to the beginning of time, and it's right here in this zone where it first started back in 2014. So interesting level, and I think it has a high likelihood of holding. Right, we got this extra liquidity down here at that angle, the purple angle here in the 18s and the 19s. So I don't think it really needs to go back down there, but we are breaking back above the red angle as resistance, flipping it to support. So I think we're going to see a trend change higher soon, as XBI indicates. Maybe $75 could be the lows that it really wants to go back to retrace. So even though things look pretty scary, it's not so scary after all for that. And LabU is in the same boat. It's just 3x leverage. So whatever you see XBI do, LabU is probably going to do a lot worse. So just be careful with those super leverage. I mean, 2x is crazy, 3x is even crazier. So with that said, I think Kat, do you have anything to add with biotech?
Yeah, I can add a couple minutes here. Yeah. So I mean, I think biotech, this is like the log fib. Yeah, I think these are log fibs. Basically, from the top to the bottom, it tried to retrace back to the 0.5, just got rejected for a very long time. And eventually, when it got rejected at the monthly cloud, it just, couldn't hold on, just decided to plummet all the way down, right? So where are you going to find support? Where you end up finding support here, the lower monthly Bollinger Band. Whenever it breaks underneath the 20-month moving average, it tends to gravitate down. So I think this is a pretty good bottom here because it has very great reaction here in April. There's a lot of demand down here from the 0.136 and 0.236 log fibs. I think we're just basically going back down to test the liquidity zone down here again. But I think the bottom is probably in. I mean, just based on looking at the natural progression of things. And unfortunate, but this is what it is. With that said, if you kind of just zoom out, I mean, these biotech stocks, they do these things for a very long time. I think it's just a longer perspective kind of thing. They kind of like go nowhere for a while. Like over here, it went nowhere for like 5-6 years. And next thing you know, it just kind of ticks off, right? And the next thing you know, it plummeted all the way back down, like by 50%, and then make another wave up. So considering that it made all these progress over here, I think it's just cooling down right now, and it can spend years doing nothing. And it's just kind of what it's doing right now. But it might be getting ready to do some things here. I think the reason why I think that is because there's just a lot of volume here in April. And there was a lot of demand here in April. So I think it might be getting ready to do something soon. It's just not, it's just not happening right now as we speak, but I think it's getting ready for it. So that's all.
Very nice. Yes.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, you guys out there in the audience, go ahead and start rolling your requests in for later in the show. And that's kind of what we're doing right now. We're kind of going through some of the requests.
I think since AMD reported, we can talk about AMD as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think AMD, the biggest thing is it's just a very vicious downtrend here for like more than a year. And the entire time the downtrend was happening on declining volume. Like, that the lower it goes, the better risk reward ratio there is. It was just going down low volume, And that you're getting close to the bottom down here because it was touching the cloud down here. It was getting to, some pretty decent level down here because, whoa, all these tripping. Let me see. There you go. You're getting some pretty decent, reward ratio down here. Once it gets down to these, very important fit levels, is just bouncing off of it. So I think AMD is bottom. I've been mentioning over here back in April. I think AMD is probably bottom here. On top of all, they also touched the low Bollinger Band here on the monthly too, right? The question is not so much whether or not AMD has bottom. I think the reaction was pretty decent. It went up a few percent or something like that. I think the question is not whether or not it's bottom, but the question is whether or not you get a V-shaped recovery, or it's just going to be like one of those things. It's just like blah 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 blah. Going sideways here for like a whole year before going up. I think it's probably going to take its time, just because there's just so much resistance. Like if you look at it weekly here, there's just so much resistance. You look at Ichimoku, it is reclaiming the conversion here, yeah, but you also got a lot of other things up here to battle. Is probably going to end up doing a lot of bouncy balls kind of stuff over here. I don't think it's going to be like a straight V, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Look at the 20-week moving average. You see how it's getting close to resistance here around. I think by the time we get there, it's probably going to be around like 102, 103 or something like that. It's just going to be, a lot of resistance. If you look at a monthly even, once you get up to like the 120s, you're going to have resistance up here. Once you get to the 150s, you're going to have resistance up here. I think this thing's probably going to take its time, but it is what it is. I do think that it's bottom though, so I think if you're accumulating long term, this is probably a very 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 good spot to be at. But those are kind of my thoughts about it. I don't know what you guys think.
Yeah, I have my GAN, and I've been sharing this chart on the live stream with Tracker every morning, and it was interesting. Like all the time, people talk about like when it was down in the 80s or 90s or whatever. They're like, "Where's support? Where's support?" I'm like, "Well, I think it's going to hold this blue GAN level. I really do. I said that the whole time. I think it's going to hold it." And just like it held everything. Oh, look at this arrow! It's so large. Yeah, it's it held that orange GAN level too, but it hit multiple times. So yeah, like Kat said, and when you go up to the 45 and this arc up here, that's in the 150s. So this is basically that intersection is basically November, December of this year. So if it did get up there, it might not break above. So we could see it in this wedge formation for a long time, right? Just like we saw this, right? It went up to the arc, rejected back down, went up to the arc, rejected back down. We could see something similar, goes up to the arc, goes back down to the blue level, goes back up, and then takes its time. Maybe sometime in 2026 or 2027, then it'll be set free, right? So yeah, longer term, I think this is going to be a nice play, right? Very nice play. It'll probably go way higher to, I don't even know if it's going to go to 3,800, but it'll go higher in the longer term. But in the meantime, it's just in the bottoming process, and the bottoming process can take a long time, as seen right here. If you just look at this bottoming process alone, this was like basically a year of a bottoming process only, right? So this is because these are monthly candles. So don't get too excited just because it's here, but I'm accumulating for the longer term right now, and I think what we're going to see is a bottoming process for a while, and I think it could take over a year, right? It could take that, but in the meantime, it could go up towards the resistance above, and it could go back down to the blue level anytime. And we saw earnings; it stabilized right around the blue level as well after earnings, so it's not too scary, not too bad at all. So I am looking for, like Kat said, bottoming process, but it's probably going to take its sweet, sweet time to break out.
Yeah, and I just say, as far as my AMD chart goes, it's no surprise to me that price went up today because if you look at
Ooh,
my
look at
chart,
Bitcoin. It's almost back at 98,000 again.
I know it's just launching just for our show here. AMD. Let's see, turn this off here. So I went back to this 54.57 low to the 227.30 high, and then back to the higher low at $76. And so this is my 1-2. And so now my screen's frozen up. Can you see me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can see it. It's fine.
What's going on? It's just my okay, wait, there we go. My trading view locked up for a second there. So it just got finished fighting the 11 point at 95.69, and it should go to fight the 23.6 fib extension next at 116.76, and at minimum it should go to 141.98, about $142. So from where price closed today, just to struggle with the 236 is 18% higher. And then if it gets to the minimum higher, and then if it does come back to 116.76, then my next target is the 289.49. That's 148% higher, or 193% higher from where it is right now. So, I mean, this is a great time to get into AMD once again, because it's still below the level that I believe will ultimately become support next. 116.76 should flip from resistance at first to support. So yeah, this is a great long-term chart. And this whole cycle in 5 moves goes to probably 446.22, not whatever this is. 446.22. So AMD.
Very good. I got some Applovin here. Got to get me some of that Applovin. There's really nothing changed on my chart, and I still think this top is probably going to stand for a while. That's what I think for APP. And that was right around 526. I mean, technically, it never really touched the 1.618 fib, so it could just like wick up there one more time as a max resistance zone before going off. But it basically, this long wick on this monthly candle here, it just is an indicator that things might take a while to actually start to break above this 1.414 again. So that's at 332, and I just think it might be range bound for a while between 230 and 332 until it's either proves it can break above, or if it gets rejected, it's going to go back down to the 230s and maybe lower. So it just had a massive move. I think anything chasing in this area is just you got to let it cool off a little bit more, because even if it does break above this, I don't really see it breaking out too much. And I don't even see it breaking out above the 558. It just looks like it's probably gonna cool off for a while. And there's so much resistance here with the GAN levels, the ARCs, the 1.618, and all of that stuff. And then you also have this blue angle getting in the way as resistance right now. So this is just an interesting chart. And I think the majority of the move has already been made. So just if you're in it, if you had it for a long time, then you can probably take your winnings and maybe get better returns elsewhere. But I'm not sure if it's really going to break this 1.618 anytime soon.
But if you're willing to be patient with your money, it is in a pretty good spot, I would say. If you'll show my chart here. Oh, great. Thanks, Matt. So, Applovin, I just want to point your attention to the all-time high, 525.15, and then here at $60.67 in, looks like it was August of 2024. Yeah, it was a fast move. What we did April 7th, is that April 7th? Yep, it is April 7th, is the market did a 70.2% retrace from the top, 70.2% of the way back, and now that is the bottom. And so my fib extension for Fibonacci pinball from here, wave 1, wave 2, and now, let's see, let me get rid of this line. Again, just in the bare minimum to go to the 382 and the 236. Let's see, from where price closed today, it's already, you can see right here, 11.4% fib. It went below it, got above it, tested back down to the 236, and now we're above the 23.6 fib at $300.75. And as long as this can hold support, it's going to gravitate towards, I love using Matt's words, gravitate towards the 382 at 360.94. And then if it doesn't go higher than that, it's going to retest the 23.6 fib at 300. So the 382 is 19% higher. And then what gets really crazy is if it does do just the 382, 236, then the 1236 is, that's not that crazy actually. Their stocks 152% higher. It's just crazy how fast Applovin did move. So let's see which way it goes. If Matt's right, it'll just bounce between the 236 and the while. Maybe it'll almost come back 0.4. You can see the market's waiting to buy.
Yeah, I don't see it like I don't see it just dying here. I see it range bound. I can see it go back up to the 400s, 500s, but yeah, breaking above 558 seems like a difficult journey for Applovin is what I'm really saying.
Oh yeah, no, it'll do like I think 370 back to 301, and then it'll make the run. And of course, inside part of the third wave is 5 waves in itself, so it's gonna, no desperation, excitement. No, it's over. No, it's not over, and then it is over. So, yeah, 5 waves. It gets us every time.
Yeah, sometimes even Will Chamberlain hits the 20,000, the 20,000 resistance. Then sometimes you just have to take your gains and do something else. I mean, it gets there. You realize that you're a winner, and that's it.
The really exciting thing in the market is when. Yeah, he's got to rest his voice now. Thanks for coming in, Kat. Or hang out if you want, and you can whisper things to us if you want to prod us or type stuff in.
I will.
Nice.
I will.
But an exciting thing to do in the market is what I try to do all the time is the market, while in general, like the SPY and everything that makes up the SPY moves together individually, every chart moves on its own. And you'll see rotations of sectors, and you see like individual stocks, one takes off way ahead of the pack, and then it peters out early, and then you go and you look for the next one that's just starting to go. Then you grab that stock and you ride it up. That's what I try to do anyway. I try to make my money hard and fast by looking for the leaping from stock to stock. Yeah, I just kind of go for which one's hot, and usually average daily volume tells you when something's really picking up steam.
Very nice.
Yeah.
I wanted to answer a question real quick about Fetch. How is Fetch AI bullish with the bearish market structure? Well, Jay, have I got an answer for you? Yes.
Do you have a chart too? Because all I see is my. Yeah, there we go. Yes.
Look at it. I think one look at this can answer your question. How is it bullish? Well, so we can journey back in time through July of 2020, where this orange level was resistance. Then it flipped to support. Then, bam, the last time it confirmed it as support, it just took off to the blue level. And then we backtest the arc, and we have been backtesting this arc multiple times, and that was the bottom. And also, if you look at this, I don't care about this lower time frame market structure of this lower low. I care about the overall trend, basically from the bottom of November 2022 is higher lows and higher highs. But also, we can just draw a line right here. This was a super massive resistance zone that it just back tested, got liquidity below, and boom, it just launched higher from there. So this is how Fetch looks bullish, and this is how Fetch can easily get back to the $3 zone, if not go even higher to the 7s or the 13s, or maybe even 77. I don't know. We'll see. But no, Fetch, it's a very beautiful chart. And even look at this back in right here. Big, gigantic arrow is showing you March 2019. That was a high. And that black line was a major resistance that it just wanted to backtest because it never backtested it back here, right? It never went down in February 2024. So it finally got that liquidity just now. So this is how Fetch is bullish. Don't care about this lower low from here. I care about the overall structure, higher high, higher low, higher high. This is a higher low. So this is still a very nice, beautiful chart, which is why I have been accumulating on the way down. All right. I'll do XLM too. I'll do XLM as well, since I do see a couple of cryptos popping up there. So XLM, we can see that it is holding that support there, right there at the 23.7.237. So that was a great breakout and a nice little back test of the halfway point. Right, so we can see that it was stabilizing on top of that. We can even go to the Ichimoku cloud and take a look here. That yes, it is finally back on top of that conversion line for the first time since back in January. So very, very good development. We do have the cloud getting in the way pretty soon, so it might go sideways through it, but that's not that big of a deal. The cloud is very thin as well. So if the market goes higher, I think this will participate as well. And next resistance 31.5, and then we got the 37 cents and the 38 cents up top. So yeah, good chart. Finally reversed a little bit of a downtrend here, so let's see it hold. And if it does, it's going to go to the 30s and above. All right. So
I'm tapping my microphone to unmute it.
Yeah,
it's not working.
So we got MicroStrategy or GRAL or Oscar.
I'm going to do GRAL in a minute. I was wondering, I wanted to ask Kat about the M2, but I forgot to. Can you look at your M2 chart? Because I haven't looked at it in a while, and I wanted to see what.
Yeah, I'll go pull it up. You can do
Okay.
a chart first while I pull that up.
Okay, show my screen. I'm going to give you guys a quick tutorial on how I do what I do. Any of you guys can do this at home if you have TradingView or a very similar platform. But if you have TradingView, you can use exactly the same kinds of things I use. So here's Growl. It's an 8-hour chart. It's kind of young to do like a weekly chart. The reason why I do 8-hour charts a lot of times is it shows the aftermarket and pre-market action. If you go to a daily chart, it's not going to show you the price points above and below. It's not going to show all that pre-market action. So a lot of times I do 8-hour charts. And the first thing I do with a chart like this is I look, is it going up and to the right? Yes, this one's going up and to the right. If it was going down and to the right, then I'd be like, I don't know about the stock. This one looks good. It's not that old. Looks like it started in 2024 around June. And let's see, I always look at stocks in two ways. One, retrace, right? Even if you don't have like a 1-2 like this one has, you always have a retrace. So you go down here to your fib retracement tool, and let's do from the top to the bottom. So the high here was 63.99. That's the all-time high, and its all-time low is very close to where is pretty much the day it IPO'd, back to 1251. Now something interesting here. I've got a preset. If I just go TGM right there, it just moves the fibs to the right hand side. So let's look and see what the stock did after the all-time high of 63.99. It went down to right about here, 0.6% fib. It looked like it was going to stop at the 70.2, and so it went down to the next fib below 70.6. It was threatening to go to the 88.6, but it's somehow it got a stick save here after April 7th. And it kind of recovered the 786 at $23.03 and went as high as the 45%. And now it's back testing the 61.8% fib. A lot of times, you've seen me, if you'd watched us in the morning show, if I didn't have all this price action, if I just had from the low, I look at the retraces as the standard retrace goes 382, 236, 618. And even if it doesn't do this, the 618, 70.2, and 78.6 are very important fib. You want the 618 is pretty good, pretty average. If a stock's really bullish, it only retraces halfway from the move. So from here to here, and then halfway back. That's what HIMS did today. As a matter of fact, on a very short time scale, that high it hit in the morning, and then it went back to the 50% because it's really bullish and it then flagged higher and then did go higher after that. It went down to 50%, almost. It went to the 382. It went higher than the 236 up to the 11.4, and then it went deep. And then the 618 didn't hold, and as I said, the 70.2, the macroeconomic condition pushed it deeper than it should have gone, and a lot of charts did this. Anyway, so that's looking at it from a retracement point of view, and then this is something that I learned from Matt and Kat. You can take the same retracement, and I want to reverse it. And so now you have these fib extensions above 100%. So from the all-time low of 1230, the all-time high of 63.99. A lot of times, what these stocks want to do is this 786 fib is very important. And in fact, you can see right here, after it lost 100% and tested down, it tried to get above the 786. It looked like it was going to, then it dropped below it again. It made a really good run, lost it again, tried the 786, lost it, and then it was just downhill from there. So this stock, I love Matt's giant arrow. Let's use the giant arrow. So this stock, it's going to retest the 786 at 52.97. And once it can get, it'll be resistance at first. Once it becomes support, then it can surpass the 100% fib level, and it's going to go for either the 127.2 or the 141.4 next. So all that to say, this is something that anyone can do with a fib retracement. And yeah, just remember the 786 is the magic level to get back above in order to break 100 and extend either 127.2 or 141.4. I learned that from Matt, and then Kat watching Matt and noticing it was the 786 was so important again and again on so many different.
Oh yeah.
Let's see, and then I'll just show you real quick to do a fib extension. What I usually do is then I tuck these away to the left side. I'll tuck my fib retracements on the left. I put my fib extensions on the right. And you need this Fibonacci trend-based fib extension tool. You need the all-time low or a significant low. But in this case, the significant low is the all-time low. I could have done this one to do this as 5 waves up. Overall, all of this is going to be the wave 1, and all of this is the wave 2. And then just to make this a little less cluttery, turn off the extend lines right. Okay, so now, and then I like to see if some of these fibs on the right match up with the fibs on the fib extensions on the right, 141.4. And look, it went to the 382 and back to the 236. And so I think this stock is doing that cautious 382. Mind you, I've never looked at the stock before now. The 1236 back to the 764, which makes it look like it's losing the previous all-time high, but it just dips below it to grab liquidity, and then it heads back up again. And then the 2236 is my ultimate wave 5 target. There you go. This is what I think GRAL Grail is going to do. Retracement standpoint and from a fib extension standpoint. And that's all I do every day. You can ask for any chart. I can do this all day long, about 100 times a day before I just can't do it anymore that day. So there you go. My little short tutorial on how I do what I do. Oh, and then it really helps to have these other tools to use. I'm sorry, Matt. This is the end of it. My moving average 75, very important, especially if you go to like a daily or weekly chart for the long term. There's not enough data for the weekly, but for the daily, here's the MA75 on the daily chart. And look what it did. The support level, it simply came back and just barely touched and above the daily 75, which oftentimes lines right up with the Ichimoku clouds on the same timeline. Not in this case here, but maybe on a smaller timeline, like the 4-hour clouds. You know, the 4-hour, my moving average 75 moving the clouds here, and the clouds and the moving average 75 are simply the battleground. When you're above the 75, it's been the bulls are winning, and when it's below the 75, it's bearish, and the bears are winning. And guess who's winning right now? The bulls are. So I'm bullish on this. And then one last thing that's really kind of cool to use is the order block detector from Lux Algo. And you can kind of see where the market has all their limit orders and limit buy and limit sell orders already set up. A bunch of people wish they could get it back down here, and there's selling pressure right here. And for some reason, like selling pressure, they're kind of looking at these retracement levels up here. They haven't quite caught on to the fibs on the 4-hour chart. And it's going to be different from chart to chart. Here we go. On the daily chart, these sell order blocks are clustered around the 764 level, which I believe will be support. I'm sorry, resistance before it becomes support. All right. I went on for a long time about that, but I thought it'd be kind of fun to show you guys how I do. A little extra time without Cat.
Yeah, and I got my global and US liquidity chart pulled up here, so we're gonna pull that up and look at the global liquidity. On the bottom is the global M2 money supply in US dollars, and it's at all-time highs, right? And now
All-time highs.
with the US M2, look at this right here. We can see it's trying to break above it right now.
Double top.
And double top. Oh shit! It's a double top. It's gonna collapse. wait. Hold on. I got a solution for that. Here we go. No. A big giant arrow. Yeah. So it's looking like it's gonna break out, and this is a fantastic development for everything. For global M2, this is just showing liquidity is back. It's coming back. It's gonna go to all-time highs, and the market's gonna do very well. And I did make a post yesterday about all the things that are holding support. I just wanted to show that really quickly before we finish the chart request. And just with the SPX here, this looks beautiful, right? Let me just close that one. Yeah, the SPX, it looks beautiful, right? We can go to the monthly chart here just so I can show you better, right? How it backtested the level below it a couple times, and it finally backtested last month, right? So I think maybe that was all I was waiting for before price goes higher, right? We can look at the Russell 2000, and same situation. It backtested that blue level, and it looks like it wants to go higher, right? We could even go to some other indices, right? The QQQ here, look at that, backtested the level. It even closed last month below the blue level, but we're holding it strong right now. Right, we can zoom in here just to show you that it's still holding above that blue level right now. And IWM, sorry, I did IWM and SMH. Look at that. It's holding that blue level too. So this is kind of just proof that people are fearful that things are going to collapse, but I just don't see it. I know other people are afraid things are going to collapse, but judging by my charts, I can't see it. And I don't know. I think Cap might agree with that too, that he can't see anything really serious collapsing from this point on.
I'm extremely bullish, but then I think that you hear that from me anyway, so it doesn't really mean it. It's like your mom telling you that you're pretty. Like it doesn't mean anything. But I'm like, you know, like it's just looking at Bitcoin right now, and I'm actually pretty bullish on this. I think a big squeeze up is gonna happen, and it could probably surprise a lot of people.
Bitcoin is already wicked up through the weekly R1 resistance at 97,221 that I just showed you guys at the beginning of the show, and it is back just below it again now with the selling pressure.
Yeah, really good developments.
Yeah, it's been forming a very solid base together with a lot of other charts like Coinbase, like altcoins. It's been forming such a solid base that it just wants to tick it all off and do its thing.
Yeah, let's do it.
Hey, let me pull the triumvirate here. So what do you guys think about tomorrow's Fed announcement? Do you have an opinion as to what he'll say?
I never care.
Exactly, you don't care. How about you, Kat?
I care a lot. No, not really. I mean, I
doesn't
think,
really. Yeah.
yeah, the whole thing is I like to always look at yields to try to figure out what's happening, and the 2 year has been dropping, and it's just been dropping down lower and lower. And the 10 year has just been holding steady, but it's looking weaker and weaker and weaker. So I think that the market is signaling that rates are gonna go down. I just don't really see any like tariffs causing such huge inflation that the Fed has to raise rates right now. And I just don't see any of that. So as long as it's steady or going down, I think it's going to be good for the economy. Um, I don't really care what he has to say tomorrow, to be honest. But you're gonna have some market participants that are gonna use that as like a excuse to justify for a huge volatility that's gonna come. That's gonna whip both sides as it usually does. That's my take on it. What about you, Tracker?
I think we always agree it really doesn't matter what he says. Usually, I look at it as the Fed rate, announcement day. It's always a bottleneck where it just like holds everyone to uh, stop what they'll stop to look and see what everyone else is going to do, and then after the announcement, everyone just does what they're going to do anyway. So it just kind of slows down price action and then releases it suddenly in a spurt. Um, I don't think he's gonna. I don't think he can announce a rate cut. I don't think the market needs a rate cut right now. I think he could just hold steady, and that will show, strength, and the market will just say, "You know what? We don't need it either. We can go ahead and just keep pushing the money train on higher and higher, without a rate cut." And really, he should save the rate cuts for an emergency anyway, because it's kinda like what he's been trying to do. We cut rates, so much for the pandemic. Um, and really, money's gonna get more and more expensive anyway. So I don't think I don't think we need a rate cut. It won't be a rate increase either. It'll be like hold steady. That's my opinion for tomorrow. And the market will say, "Okay, well, yeah, I guess we should have expected that anyway. Now let's get back to what we were doing anyway
Yeah.
and
I
send this
mean,
thing higher."
we're we're almost running out of time here, so I guess I can finish off these requests, unless you wanted to show something real quick, Tracker.
No, 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 go right ahead.
Already. Yeah, so we'll do
I
MSTR really quickly.
showed enough already.
Fair enough. All right, MSTR, we got support 340. It's holding on well. The Ichimoku Cloud is telling a story here, and the story is telling that it's at resistance. But with Bitcoin breaking out, can MicroStrategy, or is it just strategy now? I think TradingView needs to update their chart up here. I think it can break through this resistance of 387.25. So we'll watch this tomorrow and the rest of the week. And if it closes the week above this tomorrow for 2 weeks in a row, then this could be a good setup for making a higher high over here from 404 and then making the journey higher. So MSTR does look better and better. We got Oscar here, OSCR, and this is still stuck. People wonder why it's not moving up. Well, it's underneath the 100 week moving average and it can't get above. So that's exactly why. But support held. This 618, 1225 held. So we can see that price is just range bound. It needs to get above 1337 to really start to break out higher. The conversion line is still at 1386. So lots of resistance above, but I think holding the support zone is crucial for Oscar. And I think it really does now have potential to start breaking one resistance level at a time. I think they have earnings tomorrow morning. So we could either see a gap up above or maybe go back and retest support. But I think regardless, this 1225 kind of looks pretty solid right there. We did never touch that 200 week moving average. So maybe if earnings are super terrible, then perhaps it would go down there. But I just don't see it right now. ASTS, we can look at that one. I do like ASTS at this zone, right? It broke back above the weekly cloud, above my GAN level, and it's right battling resistance of the 2537 and the baseline and the conversion line as well. So it's kind of stuck in between a big support and a big resistance. Which one will win? I think the resistance will break and it can go higher. So we do have support maybe 2350, 2340, and we have all this resistance above. And once it gets above the 2650, then I think it'll have room to continue its journey higher and perhaps even to the 1.272 fib at $50. So ASTS does look better and better. And I see the last one, Pep. Oh, there some people added some stuff too, huh? Pep. We see Pepsi. Is it time for a rally? Well, this chart looks freaking awful. I would say no. right? We could get a mean reversion though. Don't count that out. And that could just easily go retrace back to major resistance at 146. But this is a bearish chart now, right? Whenever you see price break through an arc and a 100-month moving average and the cloud, basically all the same candle. This was all the same candle, one bearish engulfing candle, cut through all that support. And what do we see here? It's resistance now. So anytime it goes back up to 145, 146, 147, it'll probably get rejected and go boom down towards 111, right? Maybe the bottom of the arc, 113, 114. So I think, yeah, Pepsi, it's doomed forever now. Don't drink Pepsi, drink
Is
Coke,
that
by the way.
Pepsi? That's not Pet Boys.
No, PepsiCo. Yeah, it's Pepsi.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I think this chart is telling everybody to drink Coca-Cola because Pepsi is bad
I
for your health.
think they're already drinking Coca-Cola.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm glad you guys brought this chart up because this is a perfect example of a chart that I hate. And you'll never find me say this chart is bullish. So people always say, "Oh, Matt, you're always bullish." Well, not on Pepsi. I'm not. No. But mind you, it can easily go back up to the 140s and do a mean reversion up here first before becoming really bearish again. So
In my hometown of Durham, North Carolina, they had a PepsiCo bottling plant, not like a mile from my house, and they closed it down about 15 years ago, and they built a storage place. Just a big U store kind of place.
nice.
Oh,
Very, very
no
nice.
longer the
All
pride of
right.
the Carolinas.
No, Coke is way better, anyways. Yeah. All right, we'll do BlackBerry here, and BlackBerry. Yeah, so BlackBerry monthly chart, it's been below the conversion baseline, but the weekly chart is kind of spicy. I like it a lot. It broke back above the cloud, back above the 100. So we have support 344, resistance still around 371. So it's going in the right direction, but it had a big retrace, so it might take some time to get a little bit more bullish. But as long as it stays above 320 down here, I think it's going to be a good looking chart for continuation higher. Palantir, we did not even talk about that, I think, yet. Weird. They had earnings. And yeah, so we have a couple of things to look at, right? One of them is this 104.21 on log scale, this 1.414. And on linear scale, we have the fib right here, the 108.23. Let me just take off the Ichimoku so we can see it better. Right, the 108.23 right here. So we have a range of support, and it did bounce off that 108.23 today. So I'm watching both those levels, 108, 104. And I think there's even a possibility for Palantir to get back to my GAN level by Friday, and that's at 114. So I did mention this on the last weekly update that if it can hold that, then it's going to close back above it by Friday. And if it does close back above it by Friday, we could see stabilization above that 114 and a continuation higher. So it's still fine, right? Above 104, above 108, this stock still looks beautiful. And I guess we can finish it off with Tesla. We didn't even talk about Tesla once today. This is amazing. So I'll let you finish it off after me, Tracker. But is Tesla still bullish? I think that answer is yes, right? It's just battling the 50-week moving average. It's battling the cloud as support right now. And we can see that it went back to touch the Ichimoku cloud today. So this is not a bearish development, right? Any kind of climbing the cloud out of there as a support is not bearish situation. And it got there pretty quickly, right? 2 weeks ago, it just launched up so it would stay on top of the cloud. That's not a coincidence, right? This is something that has a chance to be more bullish. And I think even if you look at post-market overnight, it's probably even above that 280 level right now. Anyway, so this is looking like a chart that does want to continue its journey higher. And Tracker, Kat, I'll let you guys take it out with Tesla.
Oh gosh, I was actually gonna show my Palantir chart.
Okay, you can do Palantir and Tesla. I allow it.
Okay, great.
What he said. That's all I got.
Let's see. I'm just trying to. Why are you not going to 130.05? There we go. All right. So this is. Oh wait, no. Actually, you were. I was right. So Palantir, after just barely wicking above the previous all-time high, then takes a dive back down. And look, it's right here around the 70.2 fib extension. This is a retrace actually from this bottom back to this top, and there's a 786. Once price can get back over $112, then it can go back over 100% and go on extend to something like 127% higher or 141.4% higher. And my fib extension, if you just take it from the beginning of time, from $5.92 to that last all-time high of 125.41, back down to the April 7th. Oh, it is April 7th low of 65.40. Then I think it wants to go to 156.69 next. And all this was it got over the 382, but then wanted to test it again. And it just, with this velocity, it just overshot it a little bit. So I think once it gets over the 382 at 111.05, which is very close to the 786 at 112.72, then it's going to want to push higher and up to the 156.69. And then it's going to backtest this whole thing back to the 382 at 111.05 again. So I think Palantir is a great opportunity to ride it about 46% higher from where prices now in aftermarket. And then you can also just grab it. If you don't believe me, you can wait until it back tests and then ride it from 1105 to 2350 or 180, another 100% move of the wave one stacked on top. Yeah, I like Palantir a lot. Chart just got bigger and more bullish after this, and then the crazy retrace that we got all the way down to April 7th of this year. There you go, Palantir. And then Tesla, same sort of thing. It wasn't supposed to come this low. 488 was supposed to hold at least like 409. And you can see it kind of had some weakness, but then regained 409. It even, I'm sorry, I know it's really small here. I'll get it bigger. $409. It did get over it a little bit and then tested back to it, but then lost it again. And then ever since the end of the year, it just sold off heavily, and then the market took it all the way down. It's funny, it bottomed before April 7th and then double bottomed on April 7th. So first March and then April 7th, boom, double bottom, and now we're going back up. And then you guys have seen this chart already. I've been showing it from the 488.54 high to the 214.25 low. I'm just looking for a 382, 236, 618 retrace. But based on this recent sell order block appearing around the line, to think that maybe it's going to, if it does this, I think it's going to go to 429.84 instead of just 383.76. And in fact, if it's planning on doing that, this could extend to 351.40 instead of stopping at the 382 at 319.03. That's what I'm looking for. I'm watching for 319.03 next, and everything it does between now and then is a sort of oscillation on the way to get there. So there you go, 319.03 next, maybe 351.40, and then I'll test back down for support. Maybe this 50% fib will be support after it goes to 351.40. Anyway, and then my big here, let me go to the weekly chart. My big chart. I just went from $11.80 was a significant low right here. You can't see it because it's so insignificant now, way back in time. But if you go really close to it, it was significant back then. Oh wait, I'm sorry. Yeah, 1180 to the 414.50. That was the all-time high for a very long time. Down to the 101.35 low. That's my 1-2, and now we're in a crazy. It was supposed to be a beautiful run to the 764, 382. It went higher than the 764, and then it went lower than 382. It came all the way back to, oh gosh, is this 11.4? I can't believe I never looked at this. 0.114. And yes, look, 147.26. It just wicked a little bit before below that. And there you go. So that was support 11.4, and now it fought through the 236 boss. It got to a little over the 382, back to the 23.6. So, I think the 123.6 is next. And I've got something a little different here, don't I? Well, because it went all the way to the 100% is why. I'm thinking maybe the 150. But anyway, I'm looking for 700, just over this from here to here, 705. So from where our price is now, at minimum, it should go to the 1236, 599, or 118% higher. But I think it could do maybe 150%. So that's 158% higher from where price is right now to the wave 3 top. And then the wave 5 top of $200. So there you go. There is Tesla in a nutshell.
All right.
You wanna
I
say
think I
anything?
gotta run now, guys.
Oh,
No. I
no,
mean,
I'm
there's
sorry.
EOS there.
Ran it over.
If you can do EOS really quickly, because they had earnings and it
Yeah,
shot
yeah,
up
absolutely.
monstrously. And yeah,
I can show
we'll
you
just do
EOS.
EOS lastly, and then we'll run away.
I'll show you why it didn't surprise me at all either. So I made this chart bigger. I took it from the bottom to the top and then to the April 7th low, and it got above 236 to the 382. Went actually didn't quite to the 382, went back to the 236, and after it touched back to the 236, it shot off. Got over the 382 and didn't even really go back to the 236. I don't think it ever will go back again. I think I was looking for 382, 236, and I think I missed it. I think this was actually the wave 1 top, and this was the wave 2 bottom, and so now it's on its way already to the 123.6 fib next at 1052. And once I don't know, I need to do a fib move. I should be able to do a prediction for the 5 waves up from here sooner than later. But it'll look like, something like this. It'll go a little higher, test back, maybe, something like this. Yeah. But 1052 is the next target. So stay tuned. I'll publicly publish what I think it'll do next. It'll probably do something along the lines of a retrace from maybe this bottom to this top and then to the 127. Oh, that's all the way up here. Anyway, yeah, something like that. I think it's done. I think EOS is running. It's running now to 1052 next. All right, there you go. EOS, and you can see 81% on the MCDX Plus on the 8-hour chart. I think it's almost as high on the weekly chart. Oops. Type it in the dark over here. My natural daylight's gone. 85% MCDX Plus. That's very bullish.
Nice.
It's going to run for a while. I think the whole market's going to run for a while, actually. And once again, I think I didn't talk about this show, did I? But or maybe I did at the beginning. I think we're just, the trend is going back to greed. We're going back into greed. Here we are. We just tested off of it on Friday, and it's going to go back into it soon. So once the VIX gets below this 22.09, starts swelling and swelling, and when it gets this low, that's when you need to start taking profits. All right, there you go. Thanks everybody for watching our show and indulging me and
Any last words?
some teaching.
You're all beautiful, and keep on
Aw.
keeping on,
Keep on.
and
Keep on.
stay sexy, and that's all I got.
Do you have
Very,
any
very,
thoughts on
very.
how an Asian cruise is different from an American cruise?
Well, I mean, my cruise was actually like Royal Caribbean. It just happens to be in Asia, so I actually haven't really experienced like an Asian cruise per se. You know, but my cruise do have Asians on it. I was an Asian cat, and
Nice,
there were Asian crews on there. So I
nice.
actually don't know if there's any like yeah. I have to investigate, but yeah, it was pretty fun.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was hoping we'd talk more about your cruise, but I didn't want to waste your voice. So maybe next time we'll talk more about your Eastern vacation.
Yes, we'll talk about the my adventures of the Orient next time.
Yay! Well,
Until
thanks.
tomorrow, same Matt time, same Matt channel tomorrow, Tracker.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I can't wait.
Okay, we'll
All
see
right,
you
And
guys.
tomorrow.
you're always welcome too, Kat.
Yeah, I appreciate it. You guys have fun as always.
All right, thanks,
Thanks.
guys.
All right,
We
take
always
care.
do. You too.
Yep.
Get better.
Bye.
Bye.
Good night, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.